Chapter 13. The Storm's Truth. Clara barely slept that night. Lila's unsent letter lay on her bedside table, its presence filling the room like a heartbeat. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the words again. By dawn, she was already walking toward Moonlit Bay. The sky was a muted gray, the kind that hinted at a storm brewing far out at sea. Clara wrapped her jacket tighter around herself and quickened her pace. She didn't know exactly what she was looking for, but she felt drawn, pulled toward the cliffs. The path was slick with morning dew, the rocks glistening like polished stone. As she approached the cove, the waves crashed harder than usual, sending white spray into the air. The sea seemed restless, as though it remembered the night Elias had fought for his life. Clara paused at the edge of the beach, her breath catching as she took in the scene. Moonlit Bay looked different in the morning light, wilder, more raw. The carved message on the stone still stood, weathered but resolute. For Lila. I will return. She touched the inscription gently, feeling the grooves beneath her fingertips. The words felt heavier now, weighted with everything she had learned. Elias had survived the storm. He had washed ashore in the village. He had searched for Lila even when he couldn't remember her name. And Lila had waited. She had hidden something for him. Something important. Clara stepped back, scanning the cove with new eyes. The cliffs towered above her, jagged and imposing. She remembered Lila's dream, Elias standing on a cliff calling her name. She remembered the Tidekeeper's story, Elias walking toward the cliffs on the night he disappeared. Her gaze drifted upward. There was a narrow ledge halfway up the cliffside, partially concealed by overgrown vines and seagrass. It looked treacherous, but something about it tugged at her. Clara hesitated only a moment before beginning the climb. The rocks were cold beneath her hands, slick with moisture. She moved slowly, testing each foothold, her heart pounding with a mixture of fear and determination. The wind whipped around her, carrying the roar of the waves below. Halfway up, she paused to catch her breath. From here, the view was breathtaking. The entire cove stretched out beneath her, the sea stretching endlessly beyond. She could almost imagine Elias standing here, staring out at the horizon, searching for a memory he couldn't grasp. She continued upward. When she reached the ledge, she pulled herself onto it carefully. The space was small, barely wide enough to stand comfortably. But something caught her eye, a narrow crevice in the rock, partially hidden by tangled vines. Clara's pulse quickened. She pushed the vines aside and reached into the crevice. Her fingers brushed against something solid, wood, smooth and worn by time. She grasped it and pulled gently. A small wooden box emerged, wrapped in oilcloth that had darkened with age. Clara's breath trembled. This was it. The secret Lila had hidden. The thing Elias had left behind. She sat on the ledge, cradling the box in her lap. Her hands shook as she peeled away the oilcloth. The wood beneath was carved with the rose and anchor, their symbol, their promise. She lifted the lid. Inside lay 3 items. A ring engraved with the intertwined rose and anchor. A pressed white rose, fragile but miraculously preserved. And a folded letter. Clara unfolded the letter carefully, her heart pounding. Elias's handwriting. The ink was faded, the paper worn, but the words were clear. He wrote of the storm, the violent winds, the towering waves, the moment the sea whisper broke apart beneath him. He wrote of clinging to debris, of calling Lila's name into the darkness, of seeing the moon through the chaos and believing it was guiding him home. He wrote of waking on a foreign shore, memory shattered, heart aching with a longing he couldn't explain. He wrote of the villagers who helped him, of the sketches he drew, of the name that haunted him even when he didn't know why. And then, he wrote of the moment his memory returned. It had come suddenly, like a wave crashing over him. He remembered Lila. He remembered the promise. He remembered Moonlit Bay. But by then he was too far. Too lost. Too broken. He wrote that he had carved the ring for her, pressed the rose she once wore in her hair, and left them in the cliffside crevice. Their place, their promise, hoping she would find them if he could not return. Clara pressed a hand to her mouth, tears blurring her vision. Their love had endured everything. Storms. Distance. Time. Memory itself. She closed the box gently, holding it to her chest as the wind swept around her. The truth was here. The story was here. And she had found it. Clara looked out at the sea, her heart full and aching. Elias had kept his promise in the only way he could. And now she would carry their story forward.